Welcome to the Trash Cats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven. And today we're going to review our debate episode with Nathan, episode number 212. We're going to finally address head on Ricky's work fetish and cover some other relevant goofs. Bro, what happened? You were supposed to be off work today. And I'm like, how was your nice off day? You say, I worked 12 hours.
It was 9, but you know.
I came 9 times at work. I love working.
I was supposed to do, it wasn't supposed to be like an off day. I was supposed to do some errand running, but it wasn't supposed to take more than 5 hours. I was like, it was a half day.
You're a demon.
And the plan was going to be that I would have tomorrow off, because I've already worked 4 days this week.
What are the odds on tomorrow
Saturday
being off?
Also.
What are the odds?
Oh, it's completely a negative.
Gone.
Completely negative. I'm going in early.
Nice.
So we
that's a hell of a kink, bro.
Yeah, I know. I was just supposed to be like running around doing some errands. I actually brought my niece with me to keep me company because most of the time was on the road.
Yeah.
And it was a good day. Don't get me wrong. It was a good day. I spent half a tank of gas just because like every place was like 45 minutes away from each other.
You just inspire. I don't know if I've ever had a good day where I used over half a tank of gas.
Yeah.
Like, what is best case scenario? Like traveling for a vacation? The traveling day always sucks.
Maybe.
I can't think of anything I've ever done that required half a tank of gas and was a good day. Even if I was trafficking some elbows and keys of pretty powders, I would never think of that as a good day.
See, I really enjoy like decent car rides, like not like hella long, like, you know, like a 13-hour, you know, drive or whatever. That sucks to do it once. It's possible, and it does give a feeling of like, it kind of feels good at certain points throughout it, but it gets like old by like hour 8. Doing these short rides, like, you know, an hour out to an apple orchard to pick up apple juice is pretty cool. Like, that's kind of fun. And, you know, because you just hop on some fucking 75 and you just,
these are the symptoms of a deranged man, control and ladies and gentlemen.
On the way back, there was a car accident that we did get stopped behind. Was at that one point.
Your favorite part? Was that the climax?
Yeah, you know what? That was my favorite part. We got stuck, and it was like right when they had the tow trucks there picking the cars up, so they had, you know, all lanes of the road blocked off. So we kind of just had to put it in park and
what an awesome
wait until
day.
They were done. Yeah, it was. But you know,
God.
like I said, I got to spend it with my niece, and we got a nice lunch together from the Whole Foods hot bar. We treated ourselves to that. That's sometimes a nice treat. And,
so,
yeah.
What are we doing today? I wrote this thing up. I think we're gonna read that, but should we kick it off normal intros? You want to do your how was week and honorables?
Yeah. You go first with how was your? I've already talked about my day. How was your week?
I think pretty lame, but I've been Jester maxing pretty hard, and I just passed vibe check by the tooth doctor, so that was nice. I didn't have 17 cavities this time, so I'm feeling okay about that. I swear by the prescription toothpaste, dude. Holy shit. What a game changer. It is so nice not to have a stupid tooth doctor say, you owe us $5,000 and we're going to drill 17 holes in your teeth. I hate when they do that.
Yeah. That was like a running theme for a little while.
God, it was. That was a lame arc though. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That
sucked.
And I played Arc Raiders with Will last night, and I got ratted on the extract so hard, I wanted to actually murder people. Oh my God. Dude, I lost a 200K inventory of goop at the last second due to someone just you know when you're about to exit a map and you put a couple shots and someone just like fucking around.
Yeah.
I was bleeding out, and I hacked the console. I'm extracting, and the split second the screen is blacking out to returning to Speranza, like, successfully, though 2 bullets he put into me jokingly was enough to murder me and lose all of my shit. And I was floored, bro. I lost it. Oh, man.
That's it. It's really it's not just that you got shot and killed in the game. It was the level of like, comfort.
Yes.
It was the betrayal of the comfort and the trust that you thought that, like, okay, I'm done. I'm here. I'm gonna make it. It'll be fine. And to have that removed from you.
They say it's the betrayal of expectations. Like, losing something you thought you had is almost worse than, never thinking you had it type shit.
I unfortunately, I'm all too familiar with that. That's a credo for me of, like, I would rather expect it to be a shitty day.
Yeah.
And then it not be as bad as I expected, than think like, oh, these good things are going to happen and this is going to be easy. And then it suck. Or, the other day in particular, there was one, we were like, oh, we had finished up some work early and we were like, all right, we're good until tomorrow. Most of us are like, we're short on hours right now. There's not a whole lot to do. It's the winter. It's the off season for us. So we're like, fuck it. Like, let's cut early. Let's go home, get a good night in. Busy season starts soon. Take advantage of it while we can. So we're like cleaning up, about to get ready to head out. And then my boss asked me to run down to Detroit to pick something up, which is like, it's a half an hour down, a half an hour back.
Is there anything else I can do to help, boss?
Yeah. And it's like, 15, 20 minutes before, I would have been like, oh, yeah, sure, absolutely. But we're just like getting in the mode of like, okay, actually, we're going to call it a short day today. And I don't need to be here anymore. Yeah. And I'm planning my shit I'm going to do once I leave here, like go to the grocery store and do this other shit. And it was enough to be like, I was frazzled for sure. I was a little pissed off, but I still got it done. Got that extra hour and a half of labor in.
Oh yeah,
worth it.
Gotta get that labor. I haven't talked about it, but work's been kind of miserable lately. I've talked about it in the past. So my manager's super cool, but we have an insane psycho lady head coding manager who never communicates with us. We use a chat program, but she doesn't like it, so she uses Teams.
Oh, cool.
So maybe twice a year, she talks to us and she has a major freak out each time, out of the blue. So every single day, every employee has to have this background Teams running just in case she just wants to have a freak out. It is like like a second chat program just because twice a year she might get pissed. And she does it in the most rude, disrespectful, and least effective ways possible. Where, like, I have some screenshots. She typed in all caps, "The only one who's perfect is God, and he doesn't even work for us." Like, what the fuck? And her profile picture is like frazzled, blonde hair, crazy eyes. Like, it's your work profile pic. No one has one. Like, for you to have one means you're like taking it seriously professionally, and you upload the picture of the craziest eyes possible. Like, it's such a lapse. That
was the best one she got that day.
Bro, it is actually unhinged. For someone to say that in a professional capacity, like, to be talking about how we're
it's
not
very
perfect.
Wild.
It's so crazy. But, yeah, Matt, like a little... it's like once a year I have a conflict with her, and it's so stupid because she like fucked up on a ton of stuff on how things should be coded, and I pushed back, and my direct manager gave in, And for like 2 weeks, I'm doing things wrong, but it's how they wanted it. And then eventually I like proved my point where they had to reverse course and like email everyone that they fucked up, but they like would not acknowledge that I figured it, like was pushing back.
That's the worst. That's the worst.
They did reviews, and I got like perfect audits, which was crazy because she was like coming at me so reckless. But on the thing that was fucked up, like I got like 30%. All my other audits, perfect, which is crazy that she could come at me so reckless. And then the thing I fucked up, she's like, oh, after rethinking it, I think we shouldn't count that on yours. It's like, no fucking shit. Like, I was the only one that had this shit right for like a month. And she was like absolutely spazzed out. It's so reckless to talk to people. Like, she'll be like, oh man,
if she ever comes to you with like that you did something wrong, at least you now have the ammo in your back pocket of like, well, no one's perfect except God. So, you know,
I've thought about that. I've sent a couple snarky ones, but I've treaded pretty lightly because I figured, because when I was new and like first starting in the field, it was like, I don't know how much how secure my job was to push back. So I really was like, just like hands off about it. And the longer I've been there, the less I've been willing to tolerate her. It's just so ridiculous. I've had people treat me so much worse in like all the various shit jobs I've worked, but I've never been in a professional environment where everyone is so nice and chill. And then to have one higher up management person that is like a psycho demon bitch.
Yeah. There is I reached a point at some point or another. I got to a point where I just couldn't. I got tired of like, I'm not a yes man. That's usually like what I talk about when I interview, especially for management positions. Like, if you're looking for someone who's gonna like yes and your ideas to try to make it happen, it's like I can try to execute things for you, but if I see that something like this is not going to work or this is going to, be backwards for productivity, I'm going to speak up. I'm going to say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I make that clear. And my point in saying this is to like, I used to be a lot more vocal of like, if I didn't think something was a good idea, I'm going to cut it off before. Like, we're not going to reverse engineer. Like, we have something that works. Like the idea of, well, we can try to make it faster. It's just going to take some time to get used to. Maybe sometimes in some contexts, maybe, but also sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel for things.
You like a little dissent,
but when there is someone who's, we're trying to build a process for something, and this is happening at my job sometimes because we're always we're growing and it's uncharted territory for all of us. So it's different there, but at most places I've worked at, yeah,
I have to just throw this. I'm worried we're going to fall into work conversations.
That's okay. That's fair. But my point is being just
the important part.
The important part. Yes. The important part being
I'm
that
so sorry.
I've gotten good at being like, you know what? If you want to overcomplicate a thing, you do it. Like, I don't say that. I'm just like, all right, sure. Like, go ahead. Let's try that. Let's do it. Fine.
Ooh,
and then
that's risky business though.
And then when it, becomes like, oh, this is like way overcomplicated, then it's like we go back to a simpler program where it doesn't have to be that bad. And
you're in the rub their face in their own dog shit mode, it would seem.
No, I mean, not even. It's more like, especially now, because like I said, it's all uncharted shit where it's like, I don't know. I see things a certain way, and I see this being like, it doesn't need to be this difficult. But, if, especially now where I have other people that are in charge of different departments of stuff, I'm in charge of them, but they're in charge of making sure that this gets done. So as long as they're getting this done, at the end of the day, I guess I don't I don't super care how you do it. I think it's crazy to go through all that, but that's your choice to do that.
They'll figure it out eventually.
Do this way. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's fine, and I appreciate the work that they do. The extra work that they do.
It's like the most condescending thing from a manager. It's so funny.
All
right. Honorable mentions.
We appreciate everything you do here. Yeah, you got honorable
even the
mentions.
Dumb unnecessary. You don't got any? You have nothing to honor. Nothing has inspired you in 2 weeks.
No, I do have something to hate on a little bit, but let's talk about the honorable things first.
All right, I'll just throw these super quick. Dove House Hill. Really cool. Highly recommend checking them out. They only have a couple things out, at least video-wise. I haven't listened to it very thoroughly, but it reminds me of our dear friend Chaotic Steel mixed with the Misfits. It's like goth punky with like some rap, but it's almost more punk vocals. They're from London, and they're like rad gothy shit. And then, of course, I've been on a Mr. Bungles binge because I fucking hate living. And I've been on a side little injection of Gutalax, which is the OG frog vocal dudes that are like
this. It's fucking simple, It's that's the only way. Try to snore, like I try to speak. That's it. And then if you want to make the deeper one, you use the hands for like, that's the only shit.
Their whole band is shit themed, and it's very gnarly. But the vocals are just they're just really fun. It's just very weird and fun. Like, how Pig vocals were really big for a while.
Right,
like,
yeah.
Coming from the hardcore shit. And then, like, more deathcore-y, death metal shit, like, a lot of the vocals were becoming progressively froggier. His shit is like, you hear the vocal cords ripple, like, doing, like, frog, like, vibrations and shit. It's, like, clicking intermixed. It's fucking weird, dude. It's sick.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to be looking that up.
Hell yeah. Arc Raiders has been a nice distraction. I've been listening to a lot of things lately, but as always, like I'm not like listening to music the same way I used to, except certain albums. But Mr. Bungle, I do go back to every couple weeks
shit.
When I want to die. Yep. All right, you got anything? Yep. No, you said.
Fun
nothing
thing.
Or dishonorable.
Yeah, so nothing honorable for sure. So
not the State of the Union address.
No, I'm not going to talk about that. So here,
that's my equivalent of work conversation is Trump shit.
Yeah,
gotcha.
My Lent just passed, and something I listened to reminded me of the fact that. And I know some of this to be true. You can fact check me. I'm sure you know more on this than I do. A considerable number of Jesus's disciples were fishermen.
Yeah,
yes,
that's a thing. Yeah, the multiplying the bread and loaves. I think most of the apostles, I think a lot of the apostles were fishermen. And then
yes, that's what I mean. I said disciples. Yeah, apostles.
There's a whole fisherman, carpenter, fisherman. Fetishization of blue collar work shit in the Bible. Okay. We work with our hands type shit.
This is where I'm calling out the scam, the hypocrisy, the crumbling towers of the lies and deception, the corporate greed that the church has enforced upon its followers by saying that. And one other rule, once a week is only eat fish day.
Ooh, yeah.
And you have to do it.
That's big fish for sure.
It's big fish. And it just seems, when you look at it through that lens, it's pretty skeptic that he's like, okay, I'll get you. Listen, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You show up with me and you defend me, and you tell people about the miracles I do, and I'll tell them that God said they got to buy fish from you, and it's like it's written and documented proof of this capitalist greed running
fish.
rampant.
What level?
Yes.
What level of memery are you? Because I'm sure there's influence by like seafood markets, but I think it's like really a direct consequence of religious shit, right? Because it's Jesus' sacrifice. Sure. You can't eat a warm-blooded animal. It's like a remindance of penance type shit. Like, is there actually?
And we're out here overfishing the seas, so that sure. Because God forbid you have a hamburger on a Friday. Go fuck yourself.
Wait, do you just not like that they do this?
No, I'm mostly, taking a piss because.
Were you forced to eat fish and you were annoyed by it? Or what happened?
Oh, never. I enjoy a good fillet of fish sandwich.
Where did the fish touch you?
It was the Christians. They touched me with their fish, and I recognized I recognized the scammery. Just something else to call out.
Yeah,
we call out other things that they do, and I want to make it clear, make it known. They didn't try to hide it, but no one ever talks about it.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Good. That's all I really needed. That's all I really truly needed. I figured, we may not. This isn't worth typing a whole episode about for sure. I recognize that.
Christians love molesting people with fish. I mean, that's just a widely known fact.
I told you for sure. My version of shower thoughts is car thoughts.
Yeah.
As I'm driving home from work. And this was one of them, as the tirade that I wanted to present to you.
I approve. I think something that could benefit you in the future is a little more structure. We need.
Oh, for sure. I need to, or rather than that, embrace the lack of structure. Next time you're in a debate with someone who's, pro God, you hit them with the, and that's why, that's why Jesus is, with a fishtail. That's why your religion is, forcing you to support the fish economy.
Bro,
it's a forced in deal with the fish economy.
You could get so many funny lines of attack with that, though. To just like spin off on
the fish fries.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All the church money, all the money that people donate to the church going to fish. So instead of feeding the homeless.
I was an Eagles. I made it to Eagle Scout, right? Okay. I was I did. Do you know this?
No, sorry. I was laughing at the fact that I said they're spending all this money on fish instead of feeding the homeless. But what are they doing with the fish? Maybe not specifically the homeless. They're feeding community, whatever. But like
they turned homeless people to fried fish and serve it.
They're turning the homeless into fried fish, and they're serving them for $3 a plate.
That's the only way.
Or if you want fries,
these West Side churches can survive. So
Eagle Scouts. Tell me all about it.
We have to have talked about this before, but it's been a long time.
Oh, for sure. We definitely have.
Because I was a church boy, insano person, and I made it all the way to Eagle Scout with my friend / brother. We both made it to Eagle. He finished his, and we were...
Before you went rogue.
Yeah, we were pretty into Satanism at that point. And to fill out your final applications, like they would make you list your religion, which was just like flavors of Christianity at that point. And like if you couldn't buy the rules. I don't know if it was like official rules, because like scouts were tied to religion more heavily previously. But if you put like atheism, like you could not get your Eagle at that time. And I was like, I had finished everything like 2 years prior to like the cutoff date, which I think is like 18, but I was like 15, 16 with everything done, but didn't give a fuck about it anymore. And I put Satanism as like my official religion on the application because they were like forcing me to do it or whatever. And
did you get a knock at the door?
There was like a big meeting about it, and then I just never showed up to anything again. And then my friend killed himself, and then I never had to talk to anybody after that.
Sick. Hell yeah, dog.
It was pretty rad. But oh god, so many memories. But the lady who worked the fish fry, it turned out for 15 years she embezzled money from the Boy
That's what I'm saying.
And she got busted for embezzling money from her job, like to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then when the feds or whoever went through her finances, they found she was also embezzling from the Boy Scout fish fry. And she was the meanest, big fat lady who ran the fish fry that was so mean to me as a kid. And all these years later, I found out she went to prison for she didn't get much of a sentence, but she went to prison for a couple of years, very publicly to her shame, for stealing from the Boy Scouts and from her job and shit.
I hope she did feel the shame. Otherwise, the justice system isn't working.
She didn't get enough. Like, I think it's just so crazy. For a pocket full of fairy dust the government doesn't like, they'll threaten you with 5 to 10 years, like literally residue on a piece of paper. They'll take your life away and say you're going to prison for 5 years. But if you steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from a church and your business and all this shit, you get like 2 years. It's like, what the like finance?
Crazy.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Oh man, super sidetracked. What are we doing?
Well, I know we did want to go back and talk a little bit about review of the episode a few episodes ago, our debate with Nathan.
Yeah, so I've been all cards.
Say your debate with Nathan mostly.
I've thought about that a bit more too, because when we talked about it after, you had said like you wish you threw some more elbows, and I kind of wish too. But I joked with you. There were times a few times I felt like you misunderstood my argument and you played Peacekeeper maybe a little more than I would have preferred. But a lot of the time, I felt like I was going for a rebound and you helped me alley-oop. Where like you gave me a lot of good assists that I think helped the conversation a lot.
Yeah, I think for sure, like, confrontation's not usually my bag, especially when it's like someone I'm standing right in front of. It's a little bit, maybe it would be easier if it was like over, the phone or communication like this. But yeah, I definitely got that feeling a little bit afterward where it's like, you're right. I was definitely playing Peacekeeper a few times, but I was trying to understand you both have like very strong opinions on certain things. So I did feel like most of the time I'm like listening, understanding different positions and just kind of enjoying myself.
You said that a couple times.
It was kind of just fun.
And it was actually those were like fun moments to hear when you said that too. But yeah, we were definitely, I think, competitive personality types. And I remember also saying like, hey man, you're going to have to, like, if you wanted to, you'd have to fight to get in more. Cause he had such a high speed train energy. I knew I had to put a lot of roadblocks up or things could run away quick. And I want to go into my more formal thoughts, but I enjoyed the conversation. I think he's good content. I can't remember if I messaged him about some of the debate communities online because he would enjoy them way more than I do. And I'm like semi involved in some of these areas online, but I'm more a lurker. But there's a new community online. There's 2 different orgs that are running this thing called Anti-Debate. And Nathan talked a lot about like interlocking, like having, which to me, I have a different understanding of that term. His flavor of it was that people setting aside their ego to like find the truth and build arguments together. My understanding is interlocutor can be way more disagreeable. Also, like it can just be people you're conversating with, not necessarily like building together. But there's a new community in like subsect of the debate space called Anti-Debate, where it's organized as a debate, but the third party / moderator or moderators are making you steelman each other's position, like where you have to give both sides of the argument. So you're always like picking the strongest version of your opponent's argument, and then you're building off of it collaboratively to try to find common ground or a greater truth. So you're not like fighting for your point to be right. You're like competitively collaborating. And I think he would really like that.
That's very interesting. I think that's a
cool.
fun approach too. Yeah, that's like a interesting and kind of nuanced approach too. It just it's something that's different than a traditional debate.
Yeah, frankly, it is not for me, but I think it is cool, and it is cool when you watch two people that are either super good faith or like super like collaborative to try to like find something they can agree upon. It's really cool to see them get run through the format and see what they can build together. But frankly, it's not for me. But all cards on the table. So our conversation with him was almost a month ago, if not just over that at this point. And it was a 3-hour convo. And between prepping for it, recording it, and then editing, which took a lot of time, it was easy to edit, but just like running through arguments in my head. Like I've put a fair bit of thought into it, and overall I feel pretty good, but there are a lot of things I think I would have done differently. But I'm proud of collectively like our performance in upholding some of our views that he was putting to task. I would say fairly effectively, but I think we did well. But since the debate, I've been kind of running over things in the back of my head of like what I would have done differently. And I've been writing a review, and it's not long, but I've been writing it for like really like a month, but very slowly, just kind of like chipping through it. And I finished it earlier this week or whatever. And I wanted to get to it on the episode right after the debate, but I needed to collect my thoughts more. So
yeah. Well, it's worth spending time on.
Yeah, that's what I have today. I'm going to read through this. It's not long. I think like 5-10 minutes. And then we can discuss, expand, or see if you disagree with some things. But I've been working on this since, and we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay. This is my more formal, or at least more organized review of episode 212, which was our internal critique / debate with Nathan. It's been a few weeks since we talked, and now that some of the dust has settled in my brain, I thought it might be worthwhile to revisit. The initial conversation was 3+ hours, but I wanted to be succinct in my retrospective conclusions. So I tried to boil my thoughts down to a single page. I'm not sure if I succeeded in that, but hopefully this is close. With that in mind, these are my takeaways from episode number 212. So first off, I want to start with a sincere thank you to Nathan. Speaking about the things you think and believe in at length on the internet is a weird and vulnerable thing. He put in a lot of effort to give us good prep questions that allowed us to be a bit more prepared and really helped to drive the conversation. And despite some disagreements, I think his high-speed train-type energy makes for good content. And I definitely would be interested in doing another episode down the line at some point. That said, I want to speak to some of the disagreements we had. Hindsight's 20/20, but in retrospect, I think my approach should have been much more aggressive. In editing the episode, my mind kept going back to a recent thought I've been having that may seem petty, but more and more I've been finding it to be true. Small differences are often just the cracks stemming from bigger fissures of disagreement that may just not have been revealed yet. I think nearly, if not all, philosophical disagreements necessarily grind down to different foundational beliefs. My intent here is not to focus on specific disagreements, but to expand on some of my beliefs that may have provoked them. And as a final preface, I would add that when one bothers to write something, it might as well be poetic. When approaching a cruel world, I choose not to accept the unacceptable. The brutality of existence has eaten at the ends of my patience. I refuse to give grace to the wretched. I have no tolerance for the dumb and ugly creatures that make our world ugly and dumb. I don't think people who fuck up my world should be here, and thus I don't inherently value human life, especially not the lives of those who would make my world worse. Of course, popes and presidents have more power than their people, but it is their people that give them their power. There is no innocence in groups one opts into. Presidents and politicians may start the war, but the soldiers pull the trigger. Popes and priests may lead the church, but it is the parishioners that kneel in the pews. The severity of responsibility may scale, but the onus does not. These people, their beliefs, and policies make my world worse. Leader or follower, both should be held to account. No pardons, no mercy. I proudly call for vengeance. The faithful and the fascist are far past reason. It would be unreasonable to be reasonable to unreasonable people. If they understood words, they wouldn't be who they are. An infinite combination of carefully crafted sounds could collide with their ears, and they still would never understand. What must be felt cannot be told. We can differ on optics and tactics. The debate between coercion versus expression. Is it better to convince or exploit? Is it more effective to build or destroy? I have evolved past these symptoms of self-doubt. I do not battle for better worlds. I am engaged in spiritual warfare to purge those who would make my world worse. I'm well aware this will be a minority opinion. I embrace the consequences. I'm happy to struggle here. I'm happy to die angry, knowing that I refuse to accept the things that I hate. I'm well aware this will be a minority opinion, but I know that I'm not the only one that feels this way. I hope to inspire this in others, hatred to the unacceptable, or at least to remind them that we are not alone in our pursuit. I want passionate people to feel passionately, and I believe this requires sincerely honest expression. I choose not to accept the unacceptable. I will not reason with the unreasonable, and I do not trust the untrustworthy. It is unfortunate that we cannot truly know the heart of another. Without perfect knowledge, we are left with imperfect data, and there are times one must rely on moral intuitions. To believe in others' intentions requires trust, most especially with strangers. I do not trust strangers, and as I would not trust strangers of society not to hurt me, never would I trust strangers to protect me. I trust myself more than anyone I know. And I will not leave my personal security up to the state. I want the freedom to protect myself, so I offer you yours. But because you want safety, you would take mine. Is one not entitled to the means of their own defense? Should we not be allowed to protect those that we love? Only the morally lucky have never been forced to consider deadly force. As the sins of a father should not be the burden of a son, nor should the crimes of a society inform the rights of a man, I accept no responsibility for the harms of another. A lot of my general philosophical beliefs build off of my views of individual freedom and autonomy. If I'm not hurting another, there are very few things I should not be left alone to do at will. I would respect this right of others to degrees of extreme depravity, as long as they also let me live as I will. Fear is not a justification for aggression. I choose to grant others maximal freedom because I expect it in return. To take these freedoms from another would be theft. I do not trust strangers, much less thieves. In the end, we can share realities, but not our experience of it. As much as I might want to melt into another, consciousness would never allow such unity, just as I cannot allow such division. Our futures must be fought for. We must bend the world to our will. I will be my own God, and I hope that you are yours too.
This is very nice. I have.
And they all
I do have
clapped.
comments,
They all clapped.
and they all clap.
Also, important point. None of this matters. I believe this I believe in everything I wrote extremely strongly, and I also acknowledge none of it fucking matters. And that is the duality of man, especially a depressed man. So,
Yeah. I do have some points. I realize that some of the talking points, especially early on,
yeah.
I realize can be kind of taken in both ways. We've talked before on
Very
sometimes
Nietzschean.
the idea. Yeah. There's things. Yeah, there's things that you can say that are like, oh, when you say like, oh, I can't accept the unacceptable, and I don't want to. I can't give space for people that are trying to make my world worse.
Yes. Yep. Bless you.
Oh, that was for free. When that argument is something that's made by Republicans currently, where they're like, but the difference is, of course, they're like, oh, trans people are what's wrong with this country, and then they have nothing to back that up on. Of like, oh, it's because the trans people in sports, and that's what's wrong with this country. The six people nationally that are here, and it makes my life more dangerous and difficult because they're gonna try to turn my
they're
son gay.
impeding on my world. Now, but here's where I think we can both. I think you would agree with this. I think largely you would agree with most of this, but I think sorry, I'm getting distracted. One of the things I wanted to circle back to is the I am God dialogue. I think you would agree with a lot of this, but maybe not to the same degree I would. But I think we both would agree that Republicans who feel that way, that feel like communist, leftist, trans losers are fucking up my world because it's my world and they're fucking with, they should feel that way. If they believe the things they claim to believe, they should feel that way. It is in line with their beliefs to be that way. Like, it is more hypocritical and fucked and weird where a hardcore Christian, fundamentalist, Christo-fascist, whatever, says like, oh no, abortion is okay when it's rape or incest or harm to the mother. Like, that shit is that is the worst of both worlds. Like, you either have the belief or you don't. You can't bend it for exceptions. Like, the thing should be congruent. Like, if they believe people are making their world worse and it is in line with their religious or social whatever framework, they should feel that way, right?
Because what it means otherwise is that the religious the moral standard that you otherwise would hold yourself to
is a cultural flexibility.
it's a crutch. It's something to fall back on when you don't have any other ammunition, when you don't have logic and reason to prevail. And you're like, well, actually, it does make sense, though, that, there should be exceptions for these things, of course. Like, that makes sense. You have to, you're justifying that because it does make sense. But the fact that you also still stand with the whole rest of it, it's the God of the Gap situation. You're just stepping back something that otherwise
for convenient positions.
It's a convenience. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna pull that God card back out when it's convenient again, and then step it back when you realize that, like, this actually doesn't make sense, though.
Mont and Bailey bullshit. There's a same problem with like modern Nazi-esque movements. Like the neo-Nazi movements online are fucked because half of these white Christian groups or white nationalist groups, like half of it, and it's really hard to explain to people that don't know this shit very thoroughly. Most of what MAGA and like modern Republicans are about is not old school racism. It's a more modern xenophobia that is very targeted on race at times when it's convenient or when they want to. Like they care about if you're from a bad place they don't like. Like half of these like MAGA leaders like Kash Patel, Ramaswamy, like a lot of these guys are not white, but they're doing neo-Nazi shit on Twitter all day. Like most of these, not most, but it's like half of these groups are led by dudes that are mixed. Like you look at Nick Fuentes, fucking Mexican Nazi shit. Like real Nazis believe in the one drop rule. Like to bend that, to like be flexible on that shit is bullshit. Like the problem isn't like their beliefs are, I mean, it obviously is a problem that their beliefs are bad, but almost just as bad, if not worse, is that the beliefs they're expelling are not their true beliefs. There's like whole layers of like bullshit and abstraction and like fake shit you have to cut through forever before you get to the heart of the jungle of like their true real beliefs. Like
that you can't really hold them accountable to things if they're gonna just change it at will.
Yes.
If they're willing to sacrifice their own like true belief to win an argument, just to feel like they came out on top, that's problematic, and that like, you already know then you're not going to get anywhere. It's only you're going to attract more people then, of course, that way, because it's like, oh well, they can't prove that he's like, it's not all, they're not white supremacists because there's this guy's mixed or this guy, and so it makes it more difficult to really fuck with and point out the clear, like, this is obviously fucked, because people can point to shit like that, and without doing any other research into it, they just don't care.
Yeah. So I agree, and I like expounding on this into like other examples. To be super clear, none of this is like directly related to Nathan's point of view, but I did want to
no, of course,
go through some of the, and unless you had any other specific ones. I have talking points to work off of this, but I also kind of wanted to go, can I do one and then bounce to your next point?
Let me continue on the point I was trying to make earlier, where it was basically the idea is that, like, when I hear you say, like, the people that are fucking things up in your world, and it's like, yes, the difference between someone, a Republican making that comment about, all the trans people they're turning my kids gay, whatever, that kind of horseshit, is the difference is that you actually have we have verifiable reasons that, like, they're causing economies to fall, and they're causing, prices to go up, actually making our lives harder, making it harder for the people, like our loved ones, to just be themselves and do the things that they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
The problems that they have aren't truly affecting them. They're being told that it's affecting them. And that's all that fucking matters to them, is they have a talking point that they're going to get loud and yell about because, some orange motherfucker told them that, like, oh, this is the thing you should fear and you should, be afraid of.
Yeah.
That was my point on that.
Okay. From the top, just kind of going through chronologically, like one of my initial points here is that I don't have the patience for people that fuck up my world. I feel that super strongly, and you can call it convenient to a degree, but I truly am willing to fight for my belief that I am God and this is my world, and that means a particular thing through a satanic like lens, but it's not like a literal thing. But all of my beliefs are super fucking congruent, and I do not have patience for people that fuck up my world. Like when we had the discussion with him of why we think religion is so bad, and he agreed with my points, but when I heard his answers, I don't think he thinks religion is bad for the same reasons I do. At least not in the same proportions or like the same strengths. Like I don't care that there's like some people getting rich off or like scamming. Like this shit is way bigger than that to me. This is idol. It is spiritual warfare to me, and I do not have tolerance for unacceptable shit.
The entire indoctrination of a people to teach them to believe
the first lie,
like what they see does not amount to true. What I tell you is the truth.
Yep, invisible walls,
and that's. And if you question it too much, then you're wrong. If you question it and you go against it, then you're wrong. And not only are you wrong, but you're going to actually suffer for it. You're going to pay for it. There's a an actual bad that will come to you for questioning, for going against.
Yeah.
And that is just fully psychotic.
Yeah. And then one of our next bigger disagreements was on the like optics and tactics and shit. And I feel like we fought that battle pretty strongly. I feel like as a good example, it's like, yeah, you can't get rid of cartels or like terrorists or whatever by arresting every single one. But that actually kind of is how you do that shit. That is how you rule with an iron fist or purge a hateful group or whatever. Like, you try to make examples of people. Like, you can't get every single drug dealer or whatever it is, but you absolutely get as many people, big or small, and you make examples of certain people. And I'm just not interested in the, like, placating, like, soft, coercive view of, like, these are people that we can reason out. Like, they didn't get reasoned into their beliefs on faith. Like, these are emotional things. Like, shame is going to be far more powerful. Shame and cruelty is going to be far more powerful than logic and reason with a brain-broken person. Like,
with somebody that doesn't respond to logic and reason.
Yeah, they have to feel shit. You can't talk them out of this in, like, a conventional data type way. And even so, like, of course, I want, like, there are some contradictions in here. Like, I want the better world. It should be fought for. But it's not my only goal, and it's not my primary goal. I want to purge people. I want other people who feel angry and at odds with the world to feel understood and to encourage and foster, to inspire hatred. Hatred to things I find unacceptable. That matters way more. Like, I don't need, like, the discourse of, like, oh, poison's you give to yourself and hope it hurts your enemy. It's like, fuck that shit. Poison is something I'm immune to that I force other people to drink until they die. Like, that is my goal. I want violence, or at least vengeance on the scale of, like, I don't want every fucking once a year churchgoers to be, like, violently attacked, but I want some fucking examples to be made of some people. I want, even if it isn't going to cause the changes I also want, I want a world where more people feel how I do and are understood in that, and that, I don't know, I don't see, like, it being ineffective, or there's multiple paths. Well, we have said that same shit over there.
It's you know, it's not crazy to think. What I really want at the end of the day is I want for Christians, or I want for people to look at Christians the same way that Christians look at Satanists.
Disgust. Yeah, and disgust.
I want it to be like, wow, that's sad and it's fucked up, and it's like this they should put a stop to. Someone should put a stop to this.
That's us. We're stopping.
That's
us.
I don't think that's crazy. No. I think the idea of the idea of trying to placate people to the idea of what's the way I want to say this of like trying to be accepting to a degree of like I feel like that was if you would have asked me 6 years ago, just like a little before we started the podcast, I might have been able to argue for that more. I feel like since then I've gotten so upset with the lack of returns on that I don't feel it's worth the trying to convince people from the inside kind of thing.
I think it's great for people who that comes naturally to.
If it works, if it works for you, if you're getting results, that's great. But also, I would argue that if you're getting results, if
it's whatever is honest to how you feel,
if you're convincing people to pull away from the church, I would argue that they weren't truly believers in the first place.
Yeah,
they were following because they thought they were supposed to
culturally.
But I wouldn't say that like, oh, that was yeah, exactly. They're not a religious zealot by any means.
But the problem is like
if they're persuaded,
most religious people are. But the problem is most of the people are like cultural and not like truly fundamental. But I think the point is like you need multiple angles of attack. Not one method can get all approaches done, and some are gonna be more effective or hurt certain things. That sometimes, like the Daryl Davis approach of like carrying and convincing people over long amount of time by befriending them to leave the KKK that's a beautiful thing. That's what comes naturally. That is not. I could never do that approach. I like maybe with certain things, but I'm not gonna befriend these people who are fucking up my world. One of the things that we came back to a handful of times were like, oh, these examples drawn only help to confuse the situation because it's not the actual reality of the thing. And I wanted to speak on that of like why hypotheticals matter, because I've found as like it's not a red flag, but it's like a warning sign to me when people don't think engaging in hypotheticals is a good thing. And we ran into that a handful of times. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's at least a good perspective on it. It does work in the way of setting understanding where someone's principles lie, pushing something to what I've learned from conversating with you over time is like pushing something to the extreme can really break a point down into where does your priority lie in this matter? Because by using hypotheticals that are extreme and quite possibly unrealistic, you are getting to the core of a perspective. Yeah. And I would also say that like, yeah, you can't judge every situation based on the extreme, but I think that's, I don't disagree that it's probably a good starting point in a lot of situations that go to the extreme, dial it back if you need to. Yeah. I think going,
because it isolates intuition.
Not to get away from the work, or not to go back into work talk, but like that's kind of how you do like recipe stuff. Is like, okay, you're gonna add this new ingredient. You're trying to like perfect a recipe. You want to perfect something to the way it's going to be done every single time. And it's like, okay, I'm going to add a little more oregano. And you're like, could use a little bit more oregano. Add a little bit more. And you're like, could still use a little bit more. One of the ways that works for this is like, I'm going to add what's like a stupid amount in my head of oregano. I'm going to try that. Yeah. Okay. That's way too much.
How much salt can we put in this cookie?
Yeah. I know now that it lies between these two entities. So let's work our way to the middle. I know the extreme. I know I can work my way back from this. And maybe the answer was this extreme. Maybe I put it in and I'm like, oh, actually,
this does align with my other position. By crafting the hypotheticals, it doesn't matter if they directly apply or not. What you're getting at is isolating the intuitions in different ways, like changing the ingredients to isolate the principle or the disagreement or agreement. And I think it's like super effective. And I really don't like them being dismissed. I find that difficult to contend with, frankly. And I have a couple that I think are worth running through. So one of our disagreements got into moral intuition, and at one point we talked about it privately or whatever, and I think it was accurate that you picked up on, like, we were having a difference of language of like what is considered data or not, because I believe we have some level of moral intuition to some degree. And one of Nathan's points was like, if everyone said it was true or believed it, then there has to be some truth there. And the such an obvious hypothetical at the time that I wish I got to more directly is like, for example, my example was like, you see someone getting beat and you don't understand it, but you might feel something's wrong and you want to stop it. You don't have all the data, but you feel a way about a thing, some sort of empathy or like a sense of wrongness, a gut trust of feeling is some sort of moral intuition that we sometimes might have to rely on, or there's just something valuable to acknowledge there. And his point was that it really came down to data. I feel like a good hypothetical to test that is you live in a slaver society. You live in whether it's the Deep South in the whatever year, or you live in a place where everyone actually says it's okay to treat people this X way. That is no one in your life is going to tell you it's wrong. The society has determined this way of living is okay. And my point is that regardless, like people say all the time, you can't judge some people like founding fathers or whatever by their actions, because the things they did are different in the context of their time. And I am not totally immune to that. Like, I think there is something to be said for that. But I still think, for example, slavery is something I can't make enough of a like historical excuse for, where I truly believe there's some level of moral intuition. Same with like, 1,000 years ago, it was okay to like rape your girl whenever, like that, or your kid, whatever. Like, I feel like moral intuition is a valid argument, even when you're in a society, or especially when you're in a society where everyone is against your belief or feeling to some extent. And I feel like it's a good example, like hypothetical. I wish I would have been able to hammer on harder.
Yeah. Because it's also to be true that, like, okay, maybe the people around you, maybe the people that you see, they don't have the internet, so you're not getting all the complex points of view from everybody. But maybe the people all around you are fully in support of slavery. Mm-hmm. But it's not that everybody was against it. It wasn't that everyone thought that, or it's not that everyone thought it was great and good and this is the way. Obviously, people recognized that it was fucked up. Enough people recognized that it was fucked up that a war was fought.
Sure.
Sorry,
how does this address my hypothetical, though? Because the hypothetical is like, you're in the Deep South, everyone is telling you it is good, it is okay. These people aren't of value. Right. You're encouraged to do it.
What I'm saying is, you have your surplus of people around you that's saying that, like, oh no, it's okay, don't worry about it, it's fine.
Your evidence is that other
intuition,
people don't feel that way, even if they're not around
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm saying that like if your moral intuition says it's wrong, it doesn't matter that everyone else around you is saying that it's right.
Yes. Hence it being
If your
a moral
intuition says it's wrong, yes.
Yeah. So I feel like there's some value to be pulled from a more extreme hypothetical. I feel like that's like an easy example of it. Another example I think we could go to, and I do think this is minority position, but I believe this very strongly, almost in the uppercase libertarian sense. I truly believe there are very few things you should not be left alone to do at will, as long as they are not harming another. I should be able to chop off my limbs, inject heroin, like destructive, drastic things that as long as I'm not hurting someone, I believe we should be free to do. And I truly find it, like, I care way less about guns than I do the right to have one. I don't like the bully feeling of someone telling another person what they can or cannot do or own or possess or think about, as long as you're not directly hurting someone. And I refuse to allow what others do, like what other wrongs people commit, reflect on me. I've had a lot of those debates on like race stuff. Like there are a lot of people that really like try to broaden people's like guilt or shame or onto things they didn't do. And I really don't like that shit. And I'm willing to go to pretty extreme lengths in defending other people's depravity, even as long as they are not hurting someone. So this is like, I'm willing to bite a bullet here. And I don't know if you would. I think it could be acceptable not to, but I have a hypothetical. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I have pushback to offer.
Okay.
Go with that. As I mostly agree.
Yeah.
I think
you do
my line of where I might disagree depends on what it means to directly hurt someone.
Yeah.
So the idea
I'm
of
iffy
like,
on the indirect or direct. I feel like there's
I think there's a more specific language that should be used there.
I agree.
Because there's things like, okay, like you're left alone within the house that you you rent a house from, somebody, and you're destroying property.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and it harms future peoples. It
harms financially the person, whatever. Not defending landlords. This is a bad example.
But you're also not attacking landlords, because these lefty loser people are fucking brain dead on landlord hate too. Okay, I'm gonna say it.
The idea of
landlords are neutral.
I think there's enough bad examples that it sucks, and I think that maybe we could be doing a better job of make sure we're doing a better job of like,
which is
let's not like
policy issue, not a capital issue.
Let's not making a fucking business out of it. Making it your main way of income is pretty brutal. When you're like an individual person, that kind of sucks.
It depends. It depends.
If you have 3 tenants in your house and they're each giving you enough money to pay for their mortgage that month.
Do you not think it's valuable to organize people's property?
I think it's good to, when you say organize people's property, how do you mean?
All right, this sucks because I know we will ultimately agree, but people, I keep going back to the, in quotes, people on our sides. I realize more and more my opening statement of like small disagreements, it seems petty, the narcissism of small difference. I truly believe the small differences, and I've said this before, I feel like are way bigger differences. And it's just the broader disagreement hasn't been discovered yet. I feel like less and less I have people on my side that I am referring to. The idea that like all landlords are bad is so fucking dumb, because there are going to be tons of poor people that can't ever afford to own a property of their own. Like there is value in owning, if you had the the means to own a bunch of property and offer people a fair, livable place to live. It takes work to maintain these places and upkeep them. Like, there can be good forms of
I think
land.
Let me give my prime example.
Pro-capitalist take. I know you agree, but a lot of people don't, and it's frustrating.
I think it's fine. It's fine to make a profit. It's fine to there are,
and provide a service. It's a valuable service.
So let's say you have a property. Let me give my.
It just needs to be neutral. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It has to be neutral.
I hear you. Okay. The idea of someone has a piece of property.
Yes.
Let's even 1, 3, 5, whatever. You have a few pieces of property. You did really, life was good to you. You did really well. Whatever. The idea of you taking those properties and saying, you know what, I can't live at all these houses. I don't want to sell them necessarily. It's not a good market to sell in. I would rather, what's most common, at least around here, is the people will take these big old houses and they turn them into 2-family homes, and they'll rent to 2 people, or 2 families, whatever. So you're housing 2 families instead of 1, or the two families now have a home instead of 1. The idea of if you're there,
2 people that could never afford the house.
Yeah, exactly. You're also if you're providing when something the water's fucked up, you're providing the service for that. When the heat's fucked up, you're getting that fixed. When the roof's fucked up, you're getting that fixed. Like you're providing those things. It's your house. You're getting maintenance done on your house. I get that. So it just
can't be predatory. I know we agree. It's just so many people.
Yeah, it can't. It's not, as long as it's not predatorial and fucked up. Yeah, it's not like, oh well, I think I painted, put a coat of paint on, so I'm going to charge up the rent next month. Just because I feel like I can. I want a new bag, so I'm going to up the rent next month.
But here's what I'm really addressing though is that, all right, I've caught myself doing it twice in this conversation already. People on our side often fuck this up. A major view on economy, structures of government. Many people on our side are fucking brain dead on economics or like rights or their ideas on capital and shit. And my point is not even strong. It's just that these things are morally neutral and it's how people use them. So when people on my side are like, fuck all landlords, like all this like dumb shit, like ACAB, like full like black and white thinking on big shit, and it's or like take away guns, like a ton of people we think are on our side on a bunch of issues because they agree on a bunch of other big points, but they don't think I should be allowed to own a piece of metal, and I'm supposed to pretend that's a narcissism, a small difference. It's a petty small thing. That's a big fucking difference, like lurking under the surface. And that's like why I feel like there's in retrospection, I feel like I could have, should have been a lot more aggressive because I have found these small disagreements often are the result of much bigger philosophical beliefs. And I should stop prefacing that people on my side are brain dead about economics or guns and self-defense, because it's really, I don't know how much they are on my side.
Yeah, that's fair. I definitely agree that. No, you're good. I definitely agree that certainly not everything is black and white. The degrees of, even just the idea of this is I don't want this to turn into a whole thing.
See, I'm worried you're not going to be the time master like you said you'd be, because I'm
gonna be.
Because I have bullets you have to bite. Sorry,
okay, hang on. I feel like there's a the thing with like what's it called? Like people say, oh, the capitalism doesn't work, and it's like, okay, well, it's not that it doesn't work; it's that it's been corrupted and incorporated into what it is today. It's not that it doesn't work. I think it's like, or we need to go full socialist, and it's like, no, we also don't need to go full socialist. Like we can integrate socialist more pro-socialist policies into our capitalist system to make it more efficient and make it work better. It seems like no one ever says that. No one ever talks about that. It's the most
because they get
basic
branded as like
no, because you go, oh, you're just going to be a Marxist, you're going to be a communist, and it's like, no, it's like we're just asking for better resources for workers. We're asking for better care for the people who are doing the work that make the country run well.
The inequalities from abuses of capitalism.
But right. Exactly. Yes. 100%.
The basis of understanding, almost to be considered a reasonable person, has to be that capitalism is by far the best and most productive and empowering economic system the world has ever seen. Even if I have a ton of
especially in its early stages, like it absolutely provides a playground for a large-scale innovation, large-scale production and innovation. And that's like what a lot of our country was based on, is the tremendous strides we took in innovation and industry. And that's great. But then they got greedy, and it got, they realized like, oh, we can stretch this further. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's understandable. But then once we see it, when we see it, then we have to be like, oh, this is fucked, and we can fix it. We can make this right.
Yeah.
But it's yeah.
No, we're on the same page. I already know. It's just
yeah. Okay, make me bite a bullet.
Okay.
What's your
I want to figure out, and this is one I will bite gladly, and I don't think many other people will. And I want to get through this bullet, and then we have to talk about Satanist God dialogue a bit, and then we can get the fuck. All right. Sure. So my bullet is: to what degree do you think you should be allowed to do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting another? My hypothetical is a crippled pedophile. Right? Okay?
Okay.
This person never will physically be allowed to leave their house. They can never physically harm a child, right?
Yeah.
I find what they do to be disgusting, depraved, mentally ill, dysgenic, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm very sympathetic to someone having predilections or a mental illness that leads them in those ways. That does not mean I think they should be excused, or that there shouldn't be some sort of repercussions, or that I want them to be that way. But the bullet to bite is a person of this context who can never physically harm someone, should they be allowed to view explicit images at will, theoretically? Not like from a legal perspective, but from like a moral, we deserve to be left alone sense.
I guess I would put the distinction on if they're funding an economy that
I agree
would provide more.
Now, let me cut you off at the pass.
Doing some harm, because
that is an excellent point, and like you said, we get to adjust the ingredients of the hypothetical to tease out the true the intuition. So let's say there's no funding. They found an imaginary stash of all the grossest shit they'd ever want, but it already happened. Somebody else made it. They'll never fund or
they're not interacting
harm.
with other.
Yes.
They're not interacting with others on it. They're not interacting with minors. They're not physically interacting with minors. I would say, that's like, it was like the lolicon conversation, right? Of like,
it is the lolicon.
So if the idea is that they are able to, if using this material is able to make up for the fantasy, the fetish, then I'm in favor. If it exacerbates and makes it like it's
more
that's
likely
where it gets hard,
that they
right?
could hurt. Of course, we're in agreement. There's interesting conversation there of like, if these things could ever be used therapeutically to keep people from offending. But the hypothetical we've made rules all that shit out by making it even simpler, where they're crippled, there's no chance they ever actually could harm someone. Where I might find it like ethically, morally bad, wrong. Yeah. But I don't want anyone, like, I don't like telling people what to do, and I'm willing to, because I want that for myself, go to extreme lengths to protect our individual freedoms. Like, and there could be laws. I'm not like, it's just teasing out of like where the intuition is at. Like, I can't imagine ever telling someone they can't own a gun. I don't know how you could be anti-gun, but then be okay with drugs. Like, tons of things people do or want or like can harm other people. All that matters is how you use it. And of course, because things like child porn, like, because it so obviously leads to real world harm most of the time, like, there is good practicality and like a reason to make the material itself illegal and not just the physical crime, right? Like, that is the real reason why. There is no one like directly being hurt when a fucked up person looks at a picture. Right? Like, that is not a real world harm. It's the harm, the potential harm, the acquiescence or creation of the material makes, like you said, funding and shit. Yeah. But something
you can absolutely argue that the harm was done when the photo was taken.
Absolutely. But the hypothetical ruled that out.
The photo's already been taken. Nothing can be done about that anymore. It already exists. It already is there.
But that's why I think
hopefully the person was prosecuted for it, but
right. But that's why I think the hypotheticals are good, because it tests the intuition of like, what do we actually think of, like, to what extent will we protect a person doing what they will as long as they're not harming another? I just cannot imagine telling someone they can't own a knife, they can't own a gun, they can't snort heroin. I cannot imagine trying to control someone else's life in those ways. Yeah. Even though I understand people will get hurt and die because they made poor decisions with these things, and that it is a genuinely a risk to society. Like, people will die from making mistakes. People will kill each other. People will overdose. Kids will get in their parents' stash, whatever. I don't like that shit. And I don't like when it's, not that he did this, but I don't like when other people will frame it as like, then you must be cool with school shootings. You must be cool with parents finding their kids overdosed, or you're cool with like XYZ. Yeah. That's not the point. It's the willingness to allow people to make their own decisions, and even knowing that some bad things will happen, because I want that freedom. And he had a couple lines like, fuck your freedom, like, I'm willing to sacrifice. I just cannot imagine feeling that way about someone. Like, I care about the right to own a gun because there are times I've had to protect people. There are people that in my life that have felt fear, that it granted them safety. I can't imagine saying to someone, no, you have to trust the state to protect them. Like, living in the fucking hood or whatever. Like, I'm going to call the cops. They might not show up. They might show up a week from now. They're not going to help me get to the bus today. They're not going to help me get to work. They're not going to help my loved ones sleep at night and feel safe. Like, to have a chance to survive. I just can't imagine telling someone you can't own things because other people might do bad things. I think that's bad. And to the extent I'm willing to go is willing to defend things I find depraved, that I find like morally bad, wrong, not good, don't want people to have those mental, like, but I'm willing to defend fucked up shit because I believe we should have the freedom to do things without them being stripped from us.
Right. The argument I think I posed during that conversation was that, like, if you were to tell me that if I hand over my gun to you, that it would 100% ensure that, gun violence is a thing of the past, then we can have that conversation. But we know that's not true.
That's a hypothetical that contests at those intuitions, but it doesn't give us a good answer because we know it's so unlikely. So like that hypothetical would have to be a better hypothetical because it doesn't address the true disagreement. It would have to be like, well, would you give up your guns if you knew there was a 50-50 chance of all violence being stopped? Or you could reduce 90% of violence, but 10% will always be there. Like, yeah.
And then the question is like, okay, the gun violence stops, but then what kind of increase do we see? Exactly. Yeah. What's the where's the compensation for it?
Yep. And so much that is cultural.
There's that.
I would go even farther to say that there should be near infinite personal liberty as long as you're not hurting another, but very limited organizational liberty. So here's like the simplest form I could give it. All prostitution should be legal. Like as long as you're prostituting yourself, not being pimped or prostituting. So
sure.
I might have some different intuitions on forms of pimping, but prostitution itself.
There's nuances that are there's a lot of gray areas. That's I guess the way. But yeah, but the idea of such, the spirit of such.
Yes, my line here is that prostitution sex work should be legal, but proselytization, trying to spread your religion, should be illegal. Not from an individual base. Like, if you want to go door to door or talk to people socially, that's fine. But when an organization does it in an organized fashion, where there is a goal,
they say, this is our street team, and you guys are going to do this today.
You need to knock on X amount of door. That should be as illegal as fuck. People should have advanced liberty. Organizations should not, and I feel very strongly in that sense.
Yeah. I agree.
Hell yeah. All right, last one, Mr. Timekeeper. I feel like I'm railroading too much, but I wanted to get through a lot of shit.
No. We did. We got on some couple tangents, but it was a good conversation.
I like the tangents. Where do you land on like strength of being your own god? Because I feel like you're softer than I am, but you get it, and I feel like we're in the. When I see you, there's very few people actually, besides you, that I feel like, hey, they might not feel exactly how I do, but they understand this. They understand this thing I'm feeling, and I understand it in them, even if the degree might be different. I know you get it, and I don't feel like many other people do.
I feel like I definitely get it. I feel like it's more of a philosophical concept, I guess, to me. I don't know if that's exactly, I think so. You feel it in more of a, I don't think you feel it in like a literal sense, but in a way of,
it's an empowerment.
It's a, I've long loved the idea of, it's been a overwhelming motif in my life of, you cannot control what other people do. You can control how you react to things. And that mends well, that molds into the idea of you are your own God. You are in control of one solitary thing. You are your own God. Your own is the key phrasing where people take it to mean, I think, the literal translation of like, you are a God, and that's not,
or you're other people's
obviously
God. Yeah.
I can't make matter materialize. That's not true. Yeah. I don't consider myself to be in charge of others or what they do or what they're capable of or anything like that. What I am in control of is the things that I choose to feel, to say, to
believe,
to physically do, like what I'm allowed to be.
And there are constraints on that, but it's the philosophical satanic perspective of this self-empowerment that you can choose to be your own God and master. And you either get that or you don't.
You can use other verbiage if it gives you the same feeling. The kind of strong what's the aesthetic choice of you are your own God. There is no other God. You are your own God. That is like most of Satanism does have, at least LaVeyan Satanism stuff is like, it has a lot of the aesthetics are built in. It's poetic in a certain way to be that way, but it like most religions, it enables more of a mantra, more of a power. It gives vocabulary that for the people that are looking for it, for the people that are, especially those that are like, just leaving their previous religion and realizing like, wow, this was such a sham and I feel lied to. It absolutely, for those people, I feel like provides an empowerment that
I can be a better God than that loser I was worshiping.
Yeah, it's a hole. It's it's the hole that you need, the God-sized hole in your heart that you need to fill. Fill it with yourself rather than put it into someone else. And I 100% believe strongly in that of like, exercise your free will as much as you want to, do your shit to as much as you want to do not hurt other people, of course. The idea of giving like the faith, the trust, all of that, like you don't need to give it into a higher power. You give it to yourself. You give it to the people that you love and the people around you. And that's all you need. Like that's all you should ever need to do. I think it also mends well with the idea of, or melds well. That's the word I'm looking to use, with the idea of, just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
I think it works I think it's very, it's just a good philosophy. It's just a good way to be.
I agree. That's stuck with me since you coined it. Yeah.
It's, you take responsibility for your actions. Don't be a dick.
Like I've never claimed to be, omnipotent God. I think if anything,
right, the big omnipotent guy over here.
Yeah, and I'm not like a God for other people, but I think if anything, I'm a pretty weak, imperfect God. But I strive to be as powerful as possible, and I want to be that for myself, and I choose to take it a bit more literally, but it's still like a very abstract, like philosophical lens I allow myself to wear strongly because I think the outcomes matter. Like to feel that is important. There's a big difference in, I always forget what it's called. There's NAAA and then there's like smart groups or whatever, which is like the atheist spinoff of like AA type shit where like instead of the first step of AA is like giving up to a higher power and the first step of like the smart things. It's all like the kind of the reverse where like you empower yourself to change. Like it's all like built off like it's very satanic atheist informed of like, no, I do have the power to change my own decisions and stuff. Like this isn't
it's making you the crutch versus
or making you the god of your own domain. Like I can change my choices. I don't have to become powerless to a god to change my behavior. And like that shit's important. Like you can't, I just don't understand the willingness to, I don't understand the mindset of like not wanting that. Like we if we're like being intimate or private with each other, whatever, like I'm willing to acknowledge my private position that I don't truly know there's not a God. That's my private position. My public position is fuck that shit. Fuck a God. It's not real. None of it matters. But like, I just can't imagine not having, like the private position might be like, I'm not truly a God. But the public position is I'm my own God and master. And I feel like that matter. That sets like a North Star type shit. And you have to either get that or you don't, I think.
I think we've gone back and forth on the public versus private position thing because I've typically been more public with the thing of like, listen, I don't know if there's a God, but if there is one, I don't think that they deserve respect. I don't think they deserve my worship. I don't like their plan. I don't like what they've done. I don't like the world that I was brought into. I think most of it sucks. I think there's so many things that are bad and that should be done better. I think there's communication issues. There's all kinds of things that I could critique them on. And I think I could do it better. Exactly. Yeah. I think I could do a better job. And so even if God, one dude. Does exist,
I'd worship you.
Hell yeah, dog.
Sick, bro. Even if it'd be such a chill world, we'd all be well fed and nice. It'd be sick as fuck.
Yeah, dude. no one would be a dick.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We wouldn't have the coding to be you wouldn't know what a dick is.
Yeah. That's funny.
I want to just one more thing. I think this is kind of something funny to go out on. The idea of the literal godhood things of like, I've always liked that character and like the fantasy setting stuff of like there's like a wizard that's like seeking the ultimate power and they're like trying to ascend themselves to a godhood. Like, I think that there's something very romantic about that I do think is very cool of a character, like the hubris kind of thing to it.
It's a good archetype for sure.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's not super relatable, but like understandable.
I feel that way
like,
a lot.
I'm not the most ambitious of people. I'm fully on board with that, but it's like I admire it.
I feel not entirely, but I feel a lot of that like Machiavellian like power hunger. Like I want more. I want to be able to condemn and purge and shape and build things I want, but I'm not it's not my end all be all though either. Like I'm
right, exactly.
Like I'm okay.
You have a little more personal touch to it, but yeah.
Yeah, like I'm okay. Like just doing it for myself to make things like if I can't convince enough people to feel the way we do that it ultimately could change the world. I could coerce or influence or bully people to feel how I want. Like that's cool, but knowing that's not likely or maybe not my ultimate strength or I'm not capable of it or whatever. Like I want to at least express how I feel sincerely and honestly and make the things I want in the world. Like that's why I do my art and to change what I can, but I can't like compromise how I feel.
Yeah.
And I don't think people should either. All in all, I just final statements. I really did appreciate his pushback. I think it was very fun to talk to, and I would like to talk to him again. I just would warn him I probably will be more aggressive, but he'll probably like that too. So I look forward to. I hope he didn't take anything personally. I look forward to whenever we do talk down the line.
Fuck yeah! I've been missing game nights lately. I made it to one after our debate, and then I have just been fucking so either slammed with work or sick as a dog.
Yeah.
So I've been I've missed some game nights recently, but I do plan on going back to one.
You guys play D&D, yeah?
No, it's like tabletop games, like Codenames and like
gotcha.
the fun nerdy shit like that. I'm the old man of the group. Apparently, I'm the oldest person that goes.
That's funny.
It's pretty.
That is weird. That's a first, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's a trip. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I want to actually, before we go one more time, I want to expand on something you said because I thought that you would also relate to it. You said that we should be able to feel how we feel, like feel how we want to feel, like be passionate about the things that we believe. I do think it's important though to still be reflective and question why you believe that sometimes.
Yeah,
I think it's incredibly fair and progressive and in growth. And if you can look at it in a mirror and say, why do I believe in this? And say, oh, it's because of this, this, and this, then of course go about it. And those things line up with you. That's great. I think that's important if you're going to be passionate about something, make sure you're passionate about it for actual reasons.
How often do you do the thing where you look in the mirror and you actually look into your own eyes? Like that cliche thing of like, how often do you actually do that like self look?
I kind of often, I think.
Really? Because I feel like it's a rare thing for most people. It is for me.
I think maybe not every day, but like
you look yourself in the eye every day, like actually.
Not every day. Maybe like
that would be psycho.
Like I mean, at least once a week,
quote unquote soul. You think once a week you look into yourself?
Probably.
Damn, I don't know if I do it that often. That's good though.
I think having that kind of like usually it's mostly for me. It's a moment to like check myself and like my anxieties and my intentions and like make sure I'm like leaving the house with the energy I want to.
That's good. That's really good.
Checking in with where I'm at. if like especially when it's in moments where like I feel like I'm stressed or something, I'll take that moment. You know, it's usually it starts when you're like I'm brushing my teeth or like doing my hair or something.
Yep.
And you catch yourself and you're like, and it's like
Myron,
right.
having a Myron moment. Yeah.
And it's like, how do I feel? Why do I feel this way? And what does that bring? What does that bode for me for the rest of the day? And then do I need to change something?
Yeah. I think I should probably do it more, but I think a lot of people, like, I think it's easy to go years and not truly see yourself.
Oh, sure. You know, it's just, you get into shit and like it's not every week all year round. Like I'm sure I go months without doing it, but like, I think especially in the winter time, I kind of catch myself I think more because I'm checking for diagnostics. I'm checking to see like, where's my depression at? Where am I at?
Yeah.
Like, where are my thoughts lying and how does that reflect on me? And I do that fairly frequently. I'm familiar with it.
When I look into myself and I can see in the reflection of my eyes the flames flickering. Okay, I truly can accept X amount of school shootings a year for my freedom. I can accept crucifying 1 out of every 1,000 religious extra. I can accept, like, I truly am okay with, like, the call for vengeance and hatred. I think we need more of it for things that should not be accepted. Not everything. Yes. Not like just things we kind of disagree, but there are things.
I don't know it, and I don't like it, and I'm scared.
Yeah, so or like
crucify them.
All violence is bad all the time. Like we need pushback. We need hatred of the unacceptable.
You know, I have to because I'm going on a trip soon. I have to, you know, make sure my record's clean and I don't say too many crazy things.
In your three forms of identification.
Exactly. So with that note, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yep. Love you. Sorry, thanks again for listening. Over talky.
You're good. We're good. Cool. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks, John. We need to talk about the album and Chaotic Seal. We need to catch up. Love you guys.
Abso-fucking-lutely we do.
Yep.
Make sure to check out the show page at Trash Cats Trashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show. Check out Facebook for the memes.
For the memes, if you're super bored, you can check out My Trash Yard on Instagram at Sky6SKYZICX. I think we got some fun stuff on the way. We need to get some goofing, maybe some new boot goofing, catching up on our boy Eric Kahn or something. But yeah, fun stuff ahead.
Yeah.
Some big stuff ahead as well down the line. And yeah, once again, thank you, Nathan. Look forward to talking again and hope everyone has a good, groovy night.
I want to take this opportunity to give you a shout out because I'm mostly off Instagram anymore, but when I do log in and I find something cool and then I look up and see that it's something that you posted on the Instagram, it's like, oh yeah, it's not often, but you know, I'm trying to heal the algorithm, my algorithm slowly, you know, just build back a little bit. And, you know, I saw the kitten eating a cake today.
Yeah.
Cheesecake in hell.
Double blinker lurking bonobo. Link in the bio. It's gotten so abstract. I don't think anyone understands. It's so funny to me, though.
It's my favorite part. That's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash.
Like this, it's fucking simple, you know.